Good morning everyone, and thank you for taking the time watching this video. We will introduce the Selling to Executives seminar and looking more in details with the objectives of the seminar, the agenda, and what is your role play exercise and why and how you have to facilitate this. Thank you for your attention. Let me take you through the objectives first. This seminar has one goal, which is to help salespeople to overcome their inhibitions and natural will not to do things, to go in front of executives and start speaking to them, writing to them, interacting with them, and eventually selling to them. What we found out after training thousands and thousands of salespeople is that actually it's not that they don't know what to do and how to do it. This is partly true. Moreover, they have a kind of roadblock and inhibition. They don't want to do it because the risk is too high. The objective of this seminar is to make them comfortable over 2 days by knowing how to do it, but moreover, doing it. And doing it is what you as an executive will do for the second day. This we're covering the objectives. Now let me introduce the agenda. Basically, for making this simple, there are 2 next days. The first day is on the how to do, and the second day is to practicing it. Let me show you this in detail. The first day, and again you do not participate in the first day. This is your colleague, the sales facilitator, will take the group, 8 to 12 participants, and will take them through who are the executives, how to speak to an executive, what are the KPIs, the issues and stakes of executives, and moreover of executive of their account, and then building a value proposition based on how we can answer the business initiative of this or that executive in the account. At the end of the first day, the outcome will be that they will write a letter, and the letter is to you. You, the executive, will get the second day in the morning all the letters, 8 to 12 letters from participants, so that you know who they want to speak to first. Secondly, you know what are their value proposition and what they want to get from you. The letter will say, "Sir, blah, 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 I would like to meet you in person for a brief meeting." This will introduce us to the second day, where you come on stage and play your role. The second day will start with some preliminary briefing for the participants, and then you come in the room and you do a brief introduction of yourself. Who am I? I'm an executive. I like to be an executive. I'm that age. I started being an executive working with company XYZ, and I'm happy to be here today, and I will try to challenge you on those roles. Full stop. Don't need to be too long, don't need to be sympathetic. At the end of the day, they will like you, but during the day, they need really to be in front of someone who looks a bit unfamiliar to them, and that's extremely important. After this brief intro, we will directly jump into the water, and they will have to call you. Each individual will call you for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is brief, but it's long too. You have an option to play a number of role plays situations that we invented for you. One is maybe yourself, your natural role. The second one is a disorganized GM. The third role is someone very stressed. The fourth one is someone completely depressed because there were some bad news about some person, etc. So there are 10 to 12 role plays that have been invented, and you can pick from those in order to replicate or to adapt it to your own style. 2 minutes, they call you, and then there is a debrief with the room and with yourself. When this is finished, you just leave the room and make yourself comfortable in an executive office, which is close to the main room. In this office, sitting behind your desk, you will get each individual coming, because eventually, even if they didn't make it, you will welcome them in a brief 5 minutes face-to-face meeting in order to have them getting the option to defend their value proposition and to ask you to introduce them to the board of directors. And the board of directors is the next activity, and you understand that we shrinked the timeline a bit from a 3-6 months process to a 1-day process. And after this meeting, face-to-face, 5 minutes to convince, you will debrief them for the next 5 minutes on how did the interview go, first, what went right, what they could improve. Secondly, you will debrief them on their letters. And we want this to be kept confidential, meaning it's you, the executive, and the participants, and no one else in the room at that moment. Because this seminar is so stressful to participants, so I would say emotion intensive, that we don't want participants to be facing colleagues or boss or peers in their company. They are just themselves and you, and it's a face-to-face conversation, and they like this kind of feedback from an executive, of course. When this is finished, and if you take 15 minutes, multiply by 8 to 10 participants, again it's something that will take 2 hours or more. They come one after the other one. If you need some break time, please just ask. There's no issue with this. After lunch, normally, we have a session called Present in Front of the Board. You, the director, will take your executive role, the one that was defined in the letter, the role of the target executive of their account, and you sit behind the desk in front of all the class, and they have to present like I'm doing today, or they will use a kind of computer presentation to present you 5 slides which reflects your issues, the value proposition, what solution is behind it, what kind of financial investment it requires, and what kind of call to action they require. You will also here have an option to use our facilitator guide that we will provide for you, the executive, to debrief those activities about content, about presentation style, etc., answering the questions, managing objections, etc. Eventually, this will last 15 minutes, 1-5. They don't need to take more, and for the next 15 minutes there will be a debrief by the group itself, 2 persons, normally 1 to 2, and then the total group, the class, and yourself, of course, will be asked, and you will come in the game and say, this is what I found right, this is what I recommend you definitely change as soon as possible. When this is finished, globally the day is nearly finished too, and then we'll have a global feedback session. So again, through all these activities, we compressed a normal sales cycle to something that could fit into the 2 days. Let me come back to the global agenda. I hope that the objectives of the seminar are a bit clearer now, that you have a better first view and understanding of the agenda, and that you understand a bit more what I expect from you, what we expect from you, the executive. Again, thanks very much. My phone number will appear at the end of this video. Feel free to call any one of us here if you have an issue with this. Thank you, and have a great seminar.